It's 7:43 in the evening. Dinner's barely done, the kitchen looks like a small disaster. And you're sitting on the edge of your child's bed trying to read them a story, but your mind is 3 rooms away, running through tomorrow's meeting. The email you forgot to send, the permission slip still sitting unsigned on the counter. Your child says your name. You answer. They say it again. And when you look up, they're not looking at the book anymore. They're looking at you, really looking with those eyes that somehow already know you weren't really there. That moment right there, that quiet, wordless question on your child's face. That's what this video is about. If you've ever ended a day feeling like you did everything and somehow still came up short as a parent, stay with Mind Root Parenting until the very end, because what you're about to discover has the power to completely change the way you see your role. And honestly, it might lift a weight off your shoulders you didn't even realize you'd been carrying. So many parents today are exhausted in a very specific way. Not just physically tired, though that too, but tired from the relentless pressure of trying to be enough. Enough in the right ways. Enough at the right times. Reading all the parenting books, watching all the videos, knowing all the stages and the strategies and the right things to say when your child melts down in the grocery store. We live in an era where information about parenting is everywhere, and somehow that abundance has created a strange new kind of guilt. Because now you don't just feel bad when you lose your temper, you know exactly which attachment style it might be disrupting. You don't just feel tired at bedtime, you've read enough to know that connection matters, and you worry you're not delivering it consistently enough. The knowledge that was supposed to help you has somehow become another measuring stick you're falling short of. And underneath all of it is this deep, quiet fear that maybe you're not the parent your child deserves. That maybe, despite your love, despite how hard you try, you're somehow getting it wrong in ways that will matter later. That fear is real, and it deserves to be taken seriously. But here's what child psychology actually tells us. And it might surprise you, the gold standard in developmental psychology for decades has been something called secure attachment. And what the research shows, consistently, is that securely attached children, the ones who grow up with the most resilience, the healthiest relationships, the strongest sense of self, they don't come from perfect homes. They come from homes where they feel consistently seen. John Bowlby, who first developed attachment theory, wasn't describing perfection. He was describing a child's need for a reliable, responsive presence, a parent who notices, a parent who comes back, a parent who, even when they make mistakes, repairs the relationship and shows up again. There's a concept in developmental psychology called the good enough parent, first introduced by Donald Winnicott. His research found that children don't need flawless caregiving, they actually need manageable imperfection. Because when a parent misattunes and then repairs, the child's nervous system learns something incredibly important. Rupture is survivable. Relationships can recover. That lesson, learned in the body, becomes the foundation for emotional resilience for the rest of their life. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Your child's brain, particularly the prefrontal cortex, which handles emotional regulation, planning, and decision-making, doesn't fully develop until their mid-20s, which means they are biologically dependent on your regulated nervous system to help them manage their own. When you are present, calm, and connected, you're not just being a nice parent. You are literally providing the external scaffolding their developing brain needs. It's called co-regulation. And it requires presence, not perfection. So the first thing to do, and this might sound almost too simple, is to replace the goal of being a perfect parent with the intention of being a returning parent. What that means is this. Instead of trying to be fully present and emotionally available every single moment of every single day, which no human being on earth can sustain, you commit instead to returning. You will get distracted. You will have hard days. You will say the wrong thing sometimes. But the question that actually shapes your child's attachment is not, was I perfect today? It's, did I come back? When you notice you've been mentally absent, you don't need to make a big announcement or apologize dramatically. You just return. You put the phone face down. You make eye contact. You ask a genuine question and actually wait for the answer. That return, even a small one, is what your child's nervous system is registering. It is the data their brain is collecting about whether you are safe and reliable. And the data is looking good. The second step is to create what I call protected micro-moments, not long stretches of structured quality time, but brief, consistent windows of genuine, undivided presence woven into the day you already have. Research on parent-child connection suggests that it's not the length of the interaction that matters most, it's the quality of attunement within it. 10 minutes of reading together where you are genuinely engaged, where you laugh at the funny part and pause when they seem confused, does far more for your child's sense of security than an hour of sitting in the same room while both of you look at separate screens. Find 2 or 3 natural transition points in your day: morning, after school, bedtime, and decide that for a small window, maybe even just 5 to 10 minutes, you are fully there. You are not catching up, not planning, not reviewing your mental checklist. You are in the room, in the moment, with this particular child who is only this age once. Your phone is not the problem, your mental absence is. And the solution is not to be present forever, it's to be present on purpose, repeatedly, in small ways that add up to something your child can feel. The third step, and in many ways the most important, is to repair without shame. Every parent has moments they wish they could take back. Voices raised when patience ran out, dismissals when a child needed to feel heard, distraction when connection was what the moment called for. Those moments are not the damage, how you respond to them is what matters. When you rupture the connection with your child, and you will, because you're human, the act of repair is not just damage control. It is actively building something. When you go back to your child and say, genuinely and simply, I wasn't very patient earlier, and I'm sorry that wasn't okay, you are teaching them something no book can deliver. You are showing them what accountability looks like. You are demonstrating that love isn't conditional on performance. You are proving that the relationship is strong enough to hold honesty. And you are, in that moment, co-regulating their nervous system around the concept of conflict, showing them that conflict is not the end of safety. Children do not need parents who never get it wrong. They need parents who get it wrong and then come back. The repair is the relationship. Here is what I want you to hold on to after you close this video. The very fact that you watched something like this, that you're sitting with the question of whether you're enough for your child, that concern, that love, that willingness to look honestly at yourself, that is not the mark of a failing parent. That is the mark of exactly the kind of parent your child needs. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep coming back. And you already are.